I'm going to take your questions. Everybody should feel at home, relax, so on and so forth. Yes, sir. What's your name and your credit card number? I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm Jeremiah Jason Rosales.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome.
I have two questions.
Yes.
So my first question is with regards to the coming of the Messiah.
Yes.
One of the indications that there will be worldwide peace.
Yes.
Yes. So my question is, how would the Messiah do that?
Right.
And the second is, how would I know that the Sabbath or the Shabbat, which is Saturday, that the Jews practice or the Seventh-day Adventists practice, is the one that is dictated in the Bible, because the sun was created by God on the fourth day, and it says this would be the start of the day, the week, and the month. So how would the Jews know that this is the exact seventh day that God required them to celebrate? And I hope you got my question, Rabbi. Thank you.
Okay. And just remind me, sweetheart, your first question, I got so excited about your second question. I'm not as smart as I look. I know, but I'm kidding. Okay, so your first question was, again,
okay. How would the Messiah...
Got it. The question is asked, the first question is a very popular question. Come on. Messiah is just a man from the house of David. What, are you crazy? How is a man going to bring worldwide peace? Have you lost your mind? How could it be a mere man that could do such a thing? A mere man? It's not going to do such a thing. A mere man is going to build a temple? Are you crazy? Obviously, the Messiah can't be just a mere man or a prophet. He must be something more than a man. Perhaps divine. After all, only God can do that. Understand? Okay. So, my beautiful brothers and sisters, listen very carefully like you never listened in your life. She can't get over me. So, I'm going to ask you, she's going to study with me, the Philippines, listen. I want to ask you a question. When the Jewish people had left Egypt, and on the seventh day, actually it was the night of the sixth day, after they departed, the Egyptian army was chasing them, a great army of horses and chariots. They had nothing. So what Moses did was he took his staff, and what happened? The sea parted. Now I want to ask you a question honestly. Let's say before that happened, before he did it, I walk over to Moses and said, I have a question here. Let me see if I get this straight. You're telling me you're going to put your staff over the Red Sea, the Sea of Reeds. It's going to part? How are you going to do that? Stick on the water? You could stick on the water all day long and So, my holy brothers and sisters, what would Moshe Rabbeinu answer you? We all know. What would he say? What would Moses say? You'll know. He would say, I can do it, I have a special stick. No. He would answer what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu does it. I don't do any of these things. You think Moses makes man come out? Yes, well, how did you do that? We're in the middle of a desert, and how did you make water come from a rock and fruit fall out of heaven and a cloud? You must be more than a man. He'll go, are you insane? I don't know. By the way, this is also a Christian tradition too. I don't want to misrepresent Christianity. In the Christian Bible, Jesus is not presented as the person who does it. John 5 verse 30, I can do nothing of my own, but of the one who sent me. If Jesus is God and therefore he's able to do these things, then what is he saying? I can't do anything of my own, but the one who sent me. So this is also in primitive Christianity, the same idea. And by the way, John is the fourth gospel, not just in the order it appears in the Christian Bible. It is the last of the four gospels. It's the most improved gospel. It presents us with the highest Christology found in the gospels. It's the gospel that begins with the prologue, John 1 through 18. If you've studied in the seminary, that's the highest Christology found in the Christian Bible. And John's Christology, much higher than the adoptionism of the book of Mark. In John's Christology, it's saying these things. I can do nothing of my own. If I testify of myself, that testimony is nothing, but is the one who testifies on me. So therefore, the answer, but I don't need the Christian. I just want to say that primitive Christians never believed such a thing that Jesus did it, but it's only, and Jesus is going to say, I can't take us over, but the God could send legions of agents to take me down. That means later on the church would change and develop rapidly, and unfortunately would inflict upon itself. I'll give it straight. I'm not going to play games. I know you didn't come here for applesauce and silly things. We'll tell the truth. The primitive Christians believed that the Father was greater than Jesus. The doctrine of the Trinity is a very late development. The word was invented by a church father, Tertullian, born in 165 in Carthage, which is the part of Africa that was a part of the Roman Empire. He converted in 197, and he was a Latin attorney. He was a Latin church father. He coined the name Trinity, and by the way, he didn't believe in it. Meaning, you say, what do you mean didn't believe it? He invented it. His Christology of the Trinity, I have a whole chapter on this in my book. His Christology Trinity was that the Father was greater than, that's why he's never called Saint Tertullian. Why isn't he called Saint Tertullian? Because he did not believe in the Orthodox Christian Trinitarianism. He believed that ultimately there was a point in time where the Father existed and the Son did not. But that Jesus has all the glory from the Father as we find in the Carmen Christi. So it's very critical that even them and even Origen didn't see this. This was a big fight that continued. There were Christians who already thought that Jesus was of the same substance, homoousia of the Father, and there was a big fight between the Arians and those who believed. There was over one letter I in the Greek language. And ultimately, Constantine, who converted in the 4th century following a victorious battle in which he was successful and attributed his military success to the God of the Christians, convened the Council of Nicaea in 325 in order to establish a uniform theology. By the way, all people think that at Nicaea, some of the bishops didn't believe that Jesus was God, and others did believe it. It's not true. Okay, there were no Christadelphians or Jehovah's Witnesses there. Okay, everyone thought he was a God. The question at Nicaea that was to be addressed is, to what extent was he a God? Was he a created being? Was there a point in time that the Father existed and the Son did not? And as Tertullian himself said, if the Father and the Son are co-eternal, light of light, and there was never a point in time that the Father existed and the Son did not exist, think about this for a moment, then what meaning does the word Father and Son have? The words simply evaporate. They have, how is it, if they're the same, in all ways, if the Son existed in eternity as much as the Father, and he's uncreated, then in what way is the Father a Father and the Son the Son? That means those, in logic, if a word means everything, then it means nothing. What does Father Son mean then? Why isn't Jesus the Father and the Father the Son? What a Father Son means, if you who have children know, well, your parents, let's take your parents. There was a point in time when your father existed and you didn't exist. And then at some point he brought you into existence. Now, the son of a mouse is a mouse. The son of a horse is a horse, but it's not. That's what the Tertullian was. The son of a horse is a horse, but it's not the daddy horse. Okay, that's the point. So therefore, but once you go to Nicaea, it was a surrender to basically something that the church actually could see. This is a mystery which no man, well, did Moses just forget to mention this part of the Trinity? I'm talking about the Trinity. Don't tell me that there's a plurality in God's name and it's Elohim and let us make man in our image. It doesn't say there are three gods in one person. I mean, there's one God in three persons. Father, Son, Holy Ghost is nowhere. Why? Why doesn't it say explicitly in the Nicene Creed in the Torah? Well, if Moses believed in the Trinity, did he or did he not? And if he did, he just didn't think that was important enough to mention? Of course, that's so. But the answer to your first question is that, of course, Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't split the sea. God did it. Did Aaron, when he put his staff on the Nile, turn to blood? What, Aaron knew how to do that? No, he did it and God did it. Same thing with Mashiach. It says, by the way, it's 6 words in Isaiah chapter 2. It says, he will judge among the nations, that's all. And they will then take their swords and turn plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Nation, lo yisagoy gocher v'lo yilmudu oid milchama. It's a very, I'm not going to go too deep into it, I want to leave time. Now, your second question is, what about the sun? The sun, how do we know Shabbos is Shabbos? First of all, God said it's forever. But number 2 is you have to just look at Genesis. The only answer is in the text. The sun and the moon were created on what day? So how can someone say that's Shabbos? The text says, on the 6th day. Now, there's a very interesting question. What was created first? Light. The first day. The sun, day 4. What's the obvious question? Where did that light come from? It was obviously a primordial light. But there's a much more interesting question. Why did God, there was clearly an imperative, we needed light, it was evening, it was morning one day, but why did God not create the sun right away? Why did light have to come before anything? And in fact, our sages tell us, without light, you don't have time. Then, that didn't make sense. Today, when we know the theory of special relativity, we know the relationship between time and light are intimately connected. I don't need to go into this. So therefore, now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his perfect wisdom, had to create light. Without light, there's no time. The faster you go to the speed of light, less time slows down. And therefore he created. And the Torah just says that the sun and the moon, and particularly the moon, will be as a sign for the months. It doesn't say that's how you count the weeks. So therefore the Torah means you can't appeal to a text and then question that the text says that the sun and the moon, the sun was given for the day and for the night, and the moon is given for a sign for the months, which it is. But that's day 4. But why was the light created first? Because without light there's no time, and therefore and by Hivaka, Yom Echad, it was one day. That's the answer.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetzir Nivra Let Nasa B'chefetzo Kol אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת עשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת עשה בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת עשה בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אשר מלך בטרם כל יציא נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציא נברא לעת נשא בחפץ הכל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה